testing audio and video here on our ISC Fastpitch live stream. Coming up, it's going to be Circle Top Dukes and the Fargo, North Dakota Kegel Black Knights. Blair Setford, Luciano here with you on ISC YouTube and Lego Premier Sports, bringing you the 75th Annual ISC World Tournament. If you're among those who are just joining in, if you wouldn't mind just putting in the chat, let me know that you're getting the video, let me know that you're getting the audio. Just doing a little bit of a test here before this game gets going sometime in the next few minutes. Our umpires have just come out, so I would expect we'll be about 5 minutes before first pitch. Sounding good, thank you, Kyle Smith. Okay. Okay. All right, everybody, welcome back to Sheridan Meadows Complex here in Eldridge, Iowa. It is the 75th Annual ISC World Tournament. I'm Blair Setford, your tour guide here for this afternoon, and we've got a real good one kicking things off. The home team, Fargo Kegel Black Knights, taking on the visitors, the Circle Top Dukes from Denmark, Wisconsin. Both of these teams winners yesterday and continuing on in the winners bracket today. We'll get the lineups set here for you. For the Circle Top Dukes, the visitors, Tyler Johnson playing left field leading off, Matt Ratliff in center, Manuel Godoy is at first base, Blair Ezekiel catching today, Peyton Hall, the designated player, Gentry Mitchell is at third base, Brogan Potter playing right field, Tanner Umentum is at second base, and Brett Reinhardt, the shortstop, pitching for the Dukes and not batting, Jorge Segura. We'll set the defense for you for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights, left to right. Across the outfield and left, it's Mike Lewis, center, Alan Piquer, and in right field, Shea Bryant. Around the horn, Blaine Milheim at third, Federico Eder at short. Second base is Zach Shaw. First base, Jeff Lewis. And it'll be Ramon Godoy pitching to Juan Cruz Zera. Godoy and Zera and Piquer and Milheim, some new players into the lineup for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. It's been a new look for them, and it's been a successful look as they have been in the championship game of just about every tournament they've been in over the course of the summer. And Circle Top Dukes, a different look for them as well, a little bit more local look, but still some of the fan favorites from over the years, including Manuel Godoy, Blair Ezekiel, and the newcomer Jorge Segura. So you see Godoy Missed with that first pitch and back downstairs, and that one misses as well. So 2-0 on Alan Piquet, on Tyler Johnson leading off. Godoy spent the last couple of years in a Circle Tap Dukes uniform. Led them to the championship game in 2018 in Kitchener, and a fifth place finish in their home diamond last year. Last year, of course, it's last year for us, but it was 2019, the last season played, not last year in that particular sense. Swing and a miss by Tyler Johnson. Godoy, one of the harder throwers. Good changeup, good drop ball. And the rise will jump out of the zone. He's got all of the pitches necessary. The question for Ramon Godoy over the years is how and when does he put it all together? And when he does, he is one of the top 4 or 5 in the game. So Godoy back on the board. And swing and a miss over top of that real good drop ball from Ramon Godoy. And first out of the game. So that brings up Matt Ratliff, the tall center fielder for Circle Tap. And there's the good changeup from Godoy, way out in front. Yes, he did, says our third base umpire. That one foul down the left side. So back onto the board for Godoy. Kicks, deals, and this one call the ball down low, I guess, for our home plate umpire. Not liking those low pitches right now. You got a great view of it right there from our center field cam. Godoy backs off the board for a sec. Now back on. And outside. And right down the heart. Called strike 3. Down goes Matt Ratliff for the second out of the inning. And 2 strikeouts, 2 quick strikeouts for Ramon Godoy. And up will step Manuel Godoy. Manuel Godoy at the plate, one of the top hitters in the ISC, was the leading hitter back in 2018 in Kitchener. Several all-world credit. Ramon Godoy kicks, deals, and this one is going to get pulled down the line, but that is foul on the right side. You're just getting in with us here on the ISC YouTube channel, the ISC Network. Blair Setford with you here this week. My broadcast partner, Luciano. Ligo Premier Softball is our Spanish language channel partner this week. And we're doing the English side of the broadcast. Luciano handling the tech side and handling the Spanish broadcast as well. He really is a one-man show. It's amazing to see what he's done here with the camera setups and handling a broadcast as well. So 1-2 to Manuel Godoy. Roman, the long look in. And this one misses downstairs. It is another beautiful day here in Eldridge, Iowa. We've got some high clouds, a beautiful blue sky. It's a very warm day, about 28, 29 Celsius, well into the 80s Fahrenheit for those of you on that particular scale. So 3-2 now on Manuel Godoy. 2 down here in the inning, just the top of the first. If you're just getting in, you've missed a pair of strikeouts to Tyler Johnson and Matt Ratliff. Manuel Godoy at the plate for circle tap in green. And foul off at the plate. Godoy and Godoy. Just misses downstairs off the corner. Good pitch, a long hold there by Juan Cruz Zera. But Manuel Godoy, a good eye at the plate, recognizing that the home plate umpire not calling that low strike. So working the 1-out or the 2-out walk, and that will bring up the ever dangerous Blair Ezekiel. Blair 6 times all-world with a number of teams. He's made a home over at Circle Tap the last couple of years and was instrumental in getting them into the championship game back in 2018. Cruz Zera is just mystified as to where the strike zone is right now, still hanging on to that ball. Roman Godoy taking a walk. So if you're Blair Ezekiel in this spot here, I think you got to take a pitch unless it's right down the middle. Seems like it's a real tight zone from the umpire here. And misses outside. 2-0. Circle Tap would love to work out in front here if they could, and sow a seed of doubt in the minds of the Fargo Kegel Black Knights, and now Roman Godoy is going to step off. Seem to have things under control with a couple of strikeouts against Johnson and Ratliff, but Manuel Godoy with the walk. Looks like it's unnerved Roman here just a little bit here in the top of the first inning. And there's the good changeup, and that's a reliable pitch for Roman Godoy. Is almost always able to throw that pitch for a strike. Good time for it at the 2-0. And that one misses upstairs, so 3-1. And Godoy just not happy with the strike zone right now. You can just see it in the body language. Wipe of the brow, touch the Gorilla Gold grip. Now back to the board. Chopped through by Blair Ezekiel out to left. Going first to third with the slide and in safely is Manuel Godoy. Blair Ezekiel keeps this inning going with a sharp single through the right or the left side. So the Dukes with a little 2-out rally and 2 aboard, and that'll bring up the designated player, Peyton Hall. Paul set. And there's a called strike for Godoy right down East Iowa Street, right down the middle here in Eldridge, Iowa. Chopper up the middle into the sure hands of the shortstop, Federico Eater. The flip to his partner, Zach Shaw, gets Fargo Kegel Black Knights out of the inning. Circle tap, strand 2 in the top of the first. We'll head to the home half. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. We're just getting underway. Now for our English YouTube channel listeners and viewers, we're running this ad off of the Spanish feed and we're not picking up their audio, unfortunately. This is a fabulous new ad from Mr. Ned, courtesy of Varm Matosian, one of our primary sponsors here this week. Varm talks about it being a 6-week process for making a suit. They're all handmade at his shop in New York City, 137 5th Avenue. Mr. Ned, Custom Tailor, Varm Matosian, thank you very much for your sponsorship. And our new promo video put together by Luciano just did an absolutely fabulous job. Literally knocked it out of the park here with this promo video. Absolutely the best fast-pitch softball players on the planet. Best players, the best umpires. We've got all of the best here at the ISC World Tournament. The 75th anniversary this year in Eldridge, Iowa. We thank you for joining us here on the ISC Network on our broadcasts, our streaming broadcasts. We did 2 games yesterday before a power outage here, a partial power outage took us off the air. But we're back with you today, and there's no place that we would rather be. Fargo Kegel Knights coming up to the plate. It'll be Alan Piquer, followed by Blaine Milheim, Federico Eater, Juan Cruz there in the cleanup spot, Mike Lewis, Shea Bryant, BJ Gullick, Zach Shaw, Jeff Lewis in the 9 spot for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. One of the most exciting players in the game here in young Alan Piquer, as he looks at a pitch off the plate from Jorge Segura, the pitcher for the Circle Tap Dukes. Will set the defense for you left to right across the outfield. It's Tyler Johnson, Matt Ratliff, and Brogan Potter for the Dukes in the outfield. Piquer shows bunt, pulls it back, but gets a called strike. Around the horn in the infield, Gentry Mitchell at third, Brett Reinhardt at short, Tyler Omentum at second, and at first it's Manuel Godoy. Blair Ezekiel is behind the plate for the Dukes, and Jorge Segura, the Guatemalan national team pitcher, on the board for Circle Tap. So that'll run the count to 2-1 as Piquer looked at that one down low. If this guy hits something in the gap, watch him fly around the bases. There may be nobody faster in the game than Alan Piquer, particularly going first to third once he's got some momentum going. Upstairs from Segura. And Piquer is going to step out, get a bit of time at the 3-1 count. We'll see if the Knights went to school on that low strike zone, or that low strike not being called by the home plate umpire. Because if you can make Segura bring the ball up and on the zone, that's not his strength. This one inside, ball 4. Down goes Alan Piquer. So he immediately becomes a stolen base threat. Blaine Milheim steps up to the plate. Milheim is having a season of seasons, just smashing the ball. He hit a bomb of a home run last night for the Knights to get them rolling in their win over the Ashland A's in their first game of the ISC World Tournament last night. Milheim shows bunt but pulls it back. The Black Knights, unlike some other teams here in the tournament, are willing to play the small ball early in the tournament. They executed on a couple of short game bunts and moved the runner along last night. And I thought personally maybe it was a little too early, but the Knights, that's their philosophy. They want to take every opportunity to put a runner in the scoring position. There goes Piquet, and that throw nowhere near getting him. A tough one to handle for Blair Ezekiel back behind the dish, but they were not going to get Piquet with the jump that he got, and that is a stolen base for the young man from Paraná in Argentina. We'll empty the pants there. You get a good look at Alan Piquet, number 23 in black. Don't know that I'd want to be wearing black jerseys today, but that's where they are. So Milhelm, I think 1-1 on the count here to Blaine Milheim, and Piquet out at second. And no, not a strike. It is a tiny strike zone out there, my friend. Yeah, it looks like a bit of a shoebox from here. We are a ways away. We do not have the advantage of being behind home plate. And there's a called strike on the inside corner. So 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Blaine Milheim. Anything onto the grass is going to score Piquet with his speed. Milheim will just look to get the ball into play here. Hit something behind the runner and let him turn the corner. And that misses downstairs. That pitch has not been there at all through the first inning and a third. And that's going to hurt Jorge Segura, and it's going to hurt Roman Godoy. Both of these guys, good drop ball pitchers. And if they can't get that low strike, it's going to be a challenge for the two of them. Have to bring the ball up, and if you're a hitter, you can make that adjustment now, and you should be able to go to the plate confidently, not have to swing at that ball down. Chopper on the infield, booted by Godoy, and a collision at first, and Godoy is come up lame on the Duke side. They're going to call that obstruction, it looks like, as Blaine Milheim and Manuel Godoy made some contact at the bag. And a bit of a push there towards Milheim to go off the field. They're calling him out at first. And is it Piquet? Now, are they allowing? I don't think they're allowing Piquet to score. He's pushed back to third, it looks like. So that's where the safe base probably prevents that type of collision. Manuel Godoy kind of flexing the arms over there at first base. You see him bent over. So the out is made, and you see Godoy bent over there at first. The out is made at first. There is obstruction on that out, which prevents Piquet from scoring. So he goes back to third. And that's the explanation that is being given to Jim Landerman of Fargo right now. So he'll head back to the Fargo dugout. So with a runner on third and 1 out, it'll bring up Federico Eder, the 3-batter. Eder, one of the top players on the Argentina national team. And he's moved over to this team from Circle Top as well. That pitch misses downstairs. Circle Top electing to go, as I said, with that mostly local lineup. Eder and some others moved on. He went to Fargo. Piquet arrived in Fargo from the Kitchener Cubs. And this one misses downstairs, 2-0 to Federico Eder. Shea Bryant, most recently in the World Tournament with the Toronto Batmen, but with Toronto unable to drive across the border to the United States, and we'll touch more on that as we get into the broadcast. But Shea Bryant here this week with Fargo. And this one inside, but called a strike on Federico Eder. There's a called strike. So that belt-high pitch is getting called a strike on both sides of the corners right now. And that's an adjustment Segura and Godoy will have to make. We'll have to move those pitches to the corners and bring them up a little bit in the zone if they're going to get a called strike. Chop swing by Eder. Down on strikes goes Federico Eder. He was just trying to beat that one into the ground and try and get a high hopper, but couldn't make contact. So that will be the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Juan Cruz Zera, the cleanup batter, the catcher for the Kegel Black Knights. Zera, also on that Argentina national team, plays behind Bruno at the catcher position. That one misses outside to Juan Cruz Zera. But Zera is quite versatile, can play on the infield, can play outfield as well, and his stick tends to keep him in any lineup. Bruno Matroni, of course, the catcher for Argentina. This one misses well inside. Segura. Not sure where that pitch missed, but I guess down. Jorge Segura is going to come in to ask. Some good hitters count here. We think 3-1. Is the count. Two down here in the inning, and they're going to put them on at this point. Maybe it was just 3-0, but they put on Juan Cruz Zera with the intentional walk at that point, and they've decided to go after Mike Lewis. So a little strategy early by Scott Standifer, the newly minted ISC Hall of Fame manager, Scott Standifer, strategically pitching around Juan Cruz Zera. And the Dukes will talk about their next move here. Lewis, the left fielder for Fargo, does a lot of the organizing for this team as well. A lot of things going on behind the scenes with Mike, and one of the good guys in the game does a good job here keeping this Fargo Black Knights, Kegel Black Knights team going. Certainly want to recognize John Kegel, longtime sponsor in that Fargo area. Called a strike on Mike Lewis, so 0-1. Keep an eye on Cruz Zera. He runs very well, and not just for a catcher. Manuel Godoy a couple steps behind the bag at first. And there goes Cruz Zera. He's going to hold up. A Blair Ezekiel isn't going to play the game, and he'll hang on to that and then just flip it back to Jorge Segura. So runners on second and third for the Kegel Black Knights. Solid scoring opportunity here, the bottom of the first inning. Trying to break out on top. And this one misses downstairs. Both of these pitchers are throwing a lot of pitches here in the first inning. Godoy cruised to the first two batters, but then worked into a bit of a mini jam. Same thing now for Jorge Segura, the leadoff walk. Another walk to Cruz Zera, that one partly intentional. And he's got runners on second and third for Mike Lewis. There's a called strike on the inside corner. That one just above the knee. Blair Ezekiel is going to come out and have a little bit of a chat with his corner infielder and his pitcher. They want to make sure they've got the pitch sequence right. They don't want to be tipping off anything to Juan Cruz Zera, the runner rather, out at second base. Segura sets and works. Chopper on the infield, and that is through. And here comes one, here comes two. And the move backfires on Circle Tap to put Juan Cruz Zera aboard as Mike Lewis comes through with a 2 RBI single. And the Fargo Kegel Black Knights are out to a 2-0 lead. And Shea Bryant steps in, and Bryant's been hitting the ball very well. And this one is lifted up on the infield. Godoy will drift over into foul territory, so Shea Bryant chases the first pitch and pops up. But Fargo scored 2 on the single by Mike Lewis, and they break out in front, 2-0 through 1 complete. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. We want to thank one of our sponsors, Grow Sports in New York City on Amsterdam Avenue. That's Mariano Rivera there in that shot, the former Yankee. Of course, they support all kinds of baseball, fast pitch, softball, all kinds of sports. Peligro Sports, and Avenue, PeligroSportsNYC.com is their website. You'll see it come up here. There you go, PeligroSportsNYC.com. Check them out. And our good friends at Skelton Trucking. We want to thank Mike, Andy, Cody, Cheryl, all of the family involved in the game of fast pitch softball. All of these pictures from their Skelton Truck calendar, which is a very popular item up in Ontario in fastball and trucking circles. The Skelton family, want to thank them for the sponsorship that they provide. We've got all the audio for these commercials, and we will get you set with the audio at a later date. And then Corbett Source for Sports, our longtime friends at Corbett Source for Sports, Paul Hurd and his team down in Oakville. They're a longtime sponsor, and the Source for Sports, Corbett Source for Sports, we want to thank them for everything that they've done in our game in Ontario. And their sponsorship with us goes all the way back to ISC 2 days in 2006, 15 years that they have been with us. So thanks, Paul Hurd. So Gentry Mitchell, Brogan Potter, and Tanner Umentum, some of those local players that we've talked about with the Circle Tap Dukes. They'll be the batters here in the second inning. They're now trailing 2-0 to the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Roman Godoy got a good rest on the dugout, and he's back out on the board. And with the heat here this week, it'll be important for the pitchers not only to stay hydrated, but just to take advantage of that rest in between innings, to get into the shade, get out of the sun, and conserve as much energy as you can. Godoy pours in a strike to Peyton Hall. Down on strikes goes Gentry Mitchell, and that will bring up Brogan Potter, rather. Apologies. So Brogan Potter, another prospect for this Circle Tap team, will try and get the Dukes back onto the bases here, top of the second inning. And this one is launched, well hit, deep right, off the fence. That'll get picked up by the right fielder, Shade Bryant, and aboard with a double, a long, loud double, right off the base of the fence for Brogan Potter. And that'll stir things up in the Circle Tap dugout and get them excited. Tanner Momentum now will step in. Tanner playing second base today. Called a strike on the inside corner. If you look right over the head of Jeff Lewis at first. Oh, we'll go back to that shot in a minute. There we are in that blue tent, right over the head of first base Jeff Lewis. That's our broadcast position, just in case you're wondering what our vantage point looks like today. So Eder, who had come in to have a bit of a word with Roman Godoy, will step back. Momentum back at the plate. Jeff Lewis well off the bag at first. And this one misses downstairs. Godoy kicks, deals, swing and a miss by Momentum. And had a notion to chase that pitch up in the zone, but Momentum able to hold back. And we're just slowing down the pace a little bit here. But Momentum down on strikes as Godoy reaches back and gets the second out of the inning, rather. That's the fourth strikeout of the game now for Godoy. So two down, Brogan Potter out at second base on that double, and the 9-batter, Brett Reinhardt, shortstop for Circle Tap, called strike. 0-1 now on Reinhardt. The Dukes would love to get back to the top of the shop with Tyler Johnson. Bring in a run here if they can. Close the gap. They're trailing, as you see, 2-0 to the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Chopper foul on the infield. Looked like a cricket swing. Godoy, a long look in. Boy, that's a long time to get a pitch. Swing and a miss. That'll be it for Circle Tap. They strand Brogan Potter at second on that double. Godoy picks up 3 more strikeouts. We will go to the bottom of the second. Coming up on the ISC Network, Fargo with an early 2-0 lead. Jorge Segura with some landscaping as we get ready to go here for the bottom of the second inning. BJ Gullick, Zach Shaw, Jeff Lewis, 7, 8, 9 batters for Fargo. And in with a called strike is Segura. And that pitch just misses downstairs. So 1-1, and that strike zone hasn't wavered. It's been very tight since the beginning of the game. Over the top, swing and a miss by BJ Gullick. BJ Gullick has been with his Fargo team for a number of years. Same with Zach Shaw and Jeff Lewis. Fargo has always been in the top 10, but it's been tough for them to make through that breakthrough into the Final Four. There's a little chopper on the infield right to Momentum at second, and an easy flip over to first for the first out of the inning. They've had a number of 5th place finishes, a number of 7th place finishes, but this year looks to be a good opportunity for Fargo to break into that Final Four and maybe get a shot at an elusive ISC championship game. They were the 2020 USA National Champions. And that one fouled off by Zach Shaw. Fargo were the winners at the Boys' Summer Tournament. They were in the finals at Tin Cup a couple of weeks back. Finished 3rd at the USA Nationals this year. I think that one was a strike. That went outstairs, so I think we've got 2-2 now. So Segura deliberate. Now sets. And there's a chopper just foul. So Manuel Godoy still looks like he is not shook up quite, but just a little ginger out there is Manuel Godoy at first base. He just nothing serious, but it just doesn't look all 100% for Godoy at the moment either after that collision with Blaine Milheim. Just off the outside corner, so 3-2 on Zach Shaw. Good at bat here for the 8 batter in the Black Knights lineup. Swing and a miss. Down goes Shaw. Good pitch. Down and in. Nothing Zach Shaw could do with that. And first out, second out of the inning. That'll bring up Jeff Lewis. Segura would love to get off the board here and have a quick inning and not have to deal with the top of the shop if he could. So that pitch apparently missed inside. Ground ball, and that is through and out to the gap here in right center. It's picked off by Matt Ratliff and thrown back in, but the 9 batter, Jeff Lewis, comes through with a single, and he turns over the order. So that's an important at bat for Kegel. It brings Piquet back to the top of the plate, or top of the shop, and turns over the order. So Segura, still some work to do to try to get out of this inning. Piquet looks at a called strike. You see Piquet with the hands up, not quite as exaggerated as Bradley Ezekiel, but he's certainly up and back. And that pitch off the plate for a ball. I don't remember Piquet's stance being that exaggerated last year, but boy, he looks a lot like Brad Ezekiel in the box. And this one is chopped deep right. Just a bit of room here, 4 feet in front of the fence. Alan Piquet takes one deep, but hauled in by Brogan Potter for the final out of the inning. Stay with us here in the ISC Network. Going to the third. So, of course, here you get a look at Circle Tap Bar and Grill, 2019's host for the ISC World Tournament. Great crowds the whole week at Circle Tap, fabulous hosts, and we hope to be visiting Circle Tap again in the future. And Murphy's Fish and Chips, our good friends in Truro, Nova Scotia. Longtime fastball sponsors, Dave T. Anderson and family. Big fastball supporters. Great fish and chips. Nothing quite like it in Truro, Nova Scotia, thanks to Dave and Murphy's for their sponsorship as well. So back for the top of the third inning for the Circle Tap Dukes. We're back to the top of the shop for Tyler Johnson, Matt Ratliff, and Manuel Godoy. Dodging a bullet there in the bottom of the second as Alan Piquet, deep right field. Hit at 246. Unfortunately, the fences are 250. And Brogan Potter was there to make the out. Johnson down on strikes in the first. And this one, hard two-hopper out to the second baseman. Zach Shaw picks that one off and flips over to first for the out. Good hard hit ball, but right at Zach Shaw. So Matt Ratliff, the big tall center fielder for Circle Tap. There's a called strike. And upstairs, up and in from Roman Godoy. Little buzz of the tower of his former teammate. They might laugh about that one later, but you don't want to be on the receiving end of a 80-mile-an-hour rise ball from Roman Godoy. And there's a called strike just at the knee. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. And this one is lifted up foul, so still 1-2. Don't know if you can see it in your shot, but they've got the fire hose out on Diamond 3. I'd like to run down there and run through the fire hose. It's a warm day here in Eldridge, Iowa. There was a hint of a breeze around earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. The flags that are just off to the left of your shot there are limp at the post. And this one reached out and pulled foul. Boy, he went 3/4 of the way across the other batter's box to pull that one foul. But when you're as tall as Matt Ratliff, you can do that. You just had a quick look at the field here in Eldridge, Iowa. There are 3 diamonds. We're on the middle one. It's the main diamond. This one just misses downstairs. It's a small town, and it's a small town atmosphere. It's kind of like the old-time fast-pitch softball, where you get the community to come out and support the event in your local town. And this one on the ground, a diving stop and deflection actually by Blaine Milheim, deflecting that over to Federico Eder. But aboard with a base hit is Matt Ratliff. Milheim made a valiant attempt, but really just prevented that one from making its way out to left field. So Ratliff aboard with a single, and that brings up Manuel Godoy, the very dangerous Manuel Godoy. He reached on a walk. A 2-out walk back in the first inning. But Godoy consistently has been one of the best run producers in the ISC and on the circuit the last couple of years. Deep left and fading, and boy, that went back further than he thought it was going to go. Mike Lewis out there in left thought he had plenty of room and found himself with his back up against the fence to make that catch. Manuel Godoy didn't think that he got anywhere near enough of that. He slammed down the bat in disgust, but that ball must have found something up there up above the light standards, because it drifted and drifted. Ratliff tagged up and made second on the play. but a deep fly ball. And now Blair Ezekiel will come up with a base open. Ezekiel singled in the first inning. And they are going to pitch right around Blair Ezekiel. So a lot of strategy going on here. We're only in the third inning in this game. This is the second intentional walk that we've seen. And sometimes the discretion is the better part of valor. And I'll be honest, I have seen Blair Ezekiel tie up or take the lead in more big games with home runs than I'd care to count. But again, some interesting strategy here is Jim Landerman putting a couple of runners aboard. Scott Standiford did this in the first, and it ended up costing him a couple of runs. But Peyton Hall, he'll step in with an opportunity to draw the Dukes a little bit closer. And called that hit Hall. So we're going to load the bases. And I'm sure that's not what Ramon Godoy and Jim Landerman necessarily had in mind when they walked Blair Ezekiel. So with 2 out, the bases are loaded for Circle Tap, and Gentry Mitchell went down on strikes in the second. Chopper on the infield, past the diving Federico Eder, and the runner falls going around third, and now they've got Hall hung up between second and third. He dives back in safe. But the strategy moves are backfiring here on the coaches as Gentry Mitchell, an RBI single, and only for some bad luck would that have been 2 RBIs, but Blair Ezekiel blew a tire going around third. And Blair Ezekiel upset with himself for stumbling going around the bag, or this would be a tie game were it not for Ezekiel stumbling at third. Nonetheless, the bases are loaded. Brogan Potter, who doubled off the base of the fence in his first at bat, and the Dukes threatening here in the second. So a couple of intentional walks. Those have backfired. And here's a chopper and a good play by the on-deck batter, who saves his face by picking up that one hopper in the on-deck circle. Tanner Umentum flashing a quick hand. So bases loaded for Brogan Potter. Chases the rise ball upstairs. So Potter in a hole, 0-2, 1-2 rather. So need something here. Brogan Potter try and get the Dukes back to even. Down low, not chasing. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Bases loaded for the Circle Tap Dukes. Brogan Potter at the plate. Opportunity to get his team right back into this one. They trail 2-1 in time at the plate. So let's get reset. Let's do this one more time. And that one fouled off at the plate by Potter. Had a good cut at it. So once again, 2-2, bases loaded, 2 out. Potter for the Dukes. Godoy for the Knights. Called strike 3. Circle tap, score 1, but they leave the bases loaded here in the top of the third. It's 2-1. Kegel Black Knights coming up, bottom of the third. So there you see some fantastic looking views from the drone of Luciano. Ligo Premier Softball bringing you that fabulous look at Sheridan Meadows Park, our home for the 75th annual ISC World Tournament. That's the look from not quite 35,000 feet, but maybe 300. So Blaine Milheim, Federico Eder, Juan Cruz Zera, the American, and 2 Argentines. And that could be a lot to contend with here. The top, the meat of the order. 2-3-4 for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Milheim, as we mentioned earlier, just been smashing the ball all summer. The USA Softball Brain Trust, a number of the coaching staff are they're all here, but a number of them have been sitting out behind us here in the outfield vantage point, and Blaine Milheim has got to be right in their radar sights for the Pan Am qualifier later this year in Guatemala, or maybe that's actually going to be in Argentina, as that one's still up in the air. And then of course next November 22, the WBSC World Cup in Auckland in New Zealand, upstairs from Segura. Milheim involved in that little controversial play at first base, the collision out on the play, but then obstruction was ruled and it prevented a run from scoring at the time. And downstairs, everybody on Circle Tap has got their arms up in the air wondering where that pitch is. So a base on balls for Milheim, and that'll bring up Federico Eder. Eder was down on strikes his first trip, and we got a ball on the field here coming in from the diamond behind us. on the move. There goes Milheim. The throw's high, and Milheim aboard with a stolen base. And out on leadoffs is Milheim. I think that's Kevin Wallace over there at first base. He rung him up on the leadoff. So thought it was a stolen base. Turns into an out. So Eder now batting with one down. Eder, 2-2 count. And called strike three. Eder down on strikes for the second time today. Cruzera will step in, the catcher for Fargo. Now 2 down on the inning. And this one misses down and in from Segura. Segura has had no problems getting to 2 outs. It's getting the third one that's been the difficulty for him in this game. And that one misses outside, so 2-0 to Juan Zera. Walked and scored back in the first inning. That was that 3-0 intentional walk, and they decided rather than trying to come back on Zera, they'd go after Mike Lewis, and he crossed them up with a 2 RBI single. And there's a called strike. So 2-1 to Cruzera. And I guess that pitch missed outside. 3-1. Low to ball 4. Another walk for Juan Cruzera. 2-out walk, and that will bring up Mike Lewis. He owns the 2 RBIs for Kegel Black Knights in this game. And as we talked about, Segura just hasn't been able to close the door and get to a clean inning. And there's a called strike on Lewis. Cruzera has got speed. We'll keep an eye on him at first. And this one is chopped foul down the right side. Godoy still not moving at 100%. Segura, a long look into Ezekiel. Now the wrap and the wind. On the move is Zera. High throw. Did he get him on the helmet? He did. Got him on the back on before he hit the bag. Zera is going to get the scoop from our second base umpire. The throw was high, but he came down right on the shoulder before the feet got the bag. Caught stealing. That'll be the inning for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Mike Lewis will come back to the plate. Stay tuned. We're going to go to the top of the four. Fargo out in front, 2-1. So we're back to the top of the fourth inning, and I was just asking the right fielder for Fargo, Shea Bryant, what the explanation was on the caught stealing play, and indeed it was what we thought, that the tag was on the shoulder before the feet got down to the bag. So that was the explanation. So it'll be Tanner Umentum, Brett Reinhardt, and then back to the top of the shop for Tyler Johnson, the scheduled batters here for Circle Tap. 8-9-1. Momentum down on strikes in his first trip. Swing and a miss there. Swing and a miss by Tanner Umentum. Chases that rise ball up in the zone. Godoy take a moment before he gets back onto the board. Kicks and deals, and this one is well hit. Out to left, but he's going to reel that one in, is Mike Lewis. Tanner Momentum, a long fly out to left field, but still well within the park. So Brett Reinhardt will come in the 9 batter for Circle Tap. They've made some good contact, have the Dukes, but they just haven't been able to fully square one up. Manuel Godoy put a charge in one to the fence earlier. Brogan Potter off the base of the fence with his double earlier. And then just now Tanner Momentum out to left field. Brett Reinhardt, young ball player. And swing and a miss there by Reinhardt, chasing that drop ball down in the zone. Godoy steps back, kicks, leans, deals, and just inside to Reinhardt. Winner gets an important day off tomorrow, as ISC 2 will get into full swing, and we'll have some losers bracket games on the diamonds. The winners will get the day off, and then they'll play in the winner bracket semifinals on Wednesday night. Swing and a miss. Down goes at least strike 2 to Brett Reinhardt. I could have sworn that was strike 3. I could have sworn he swung at 3. You're thinking the same thing. Maybe he fouled one off and we didn't hear it. Anyway, there's a chopper up to Federico Eder, and that eats up Eder. The normally sure-handed Federico Eder is having a tough day. A couple strikeouts at the plate, and that hop, the second hop, stayed down, but I thought he had it in the glove, but it trickled off, and E6. And the 9 batter, Brett Reinhardt, who, to us at least, appeared like he got an extra strike. And he's aboard on an error. So back to the top of the shop. Tyler Johnson, a strikeout and a ground out. And Circle Tap get a break. Here's a chopper out to third, and that one's foul. So we'll get set here with Johnson again. And he squares to bunt on the move. Strong throw, but it's on the other side of the bag. Zera can't get the speedy Brett Reinhardt. So both teams putting runners in motion. And a good, strong stolen base here for Brett Reinhardt. And back up in a scoring position now for Tyler Johnson. So 0-2 apparently on Johnson at the plate. And Federico Eder again in to have a word with Ramon Godoy. He'll head back. Looks like some action in the Fargo bullpen behind their fence. It's a righty, so it must be Robbie Schweier throwing this pitch up and away. Robbie Schweier, Brady Woods, the righty-lefty combination on the bench for the Black Knights. It is Robbie Schweier who's throwing. But it's the action on the field we want to concern ourselves with. It's Godoy. Misses inside to Tyler Johnson. Boy, that is a tight strike zone. So Godoy kicks, deals again, and fouled off at the plate, fouled off the knee. And having done that a couple of times over my career, those hurt. So Tyler Johnson hanging around here in a good at-bat, good battle against Roman Godoy. Godoy leans, kicks, deals again. Swing and a miss. Down goes Johnson. Chased that rise ball up and out of the zone. Just couldn't lay off that enticing rise ball as it jumped when it got to the plate. Matt Ratliff will step in with a runner in scoring position. Opportunity to tie the game. His circle tap Dukes down 2-1. Top of the fourth inning. Called a strike. So Ratliff, long look out. Godoy, long look in. And it's fouled off at the plate for strike two. So 0-2 on Ratliff. Brett Reinhardt, good wheels out at second base. You got to think that anything that is out onto the grass should score him unless it's really hard hit right at one of the fielders. We got to get it in play first. Godoy kicks, leans, deals. And Ratliff pokes that one foul. And foul straight back. Good cut at that pitch. Matt Ratliff might like that one back. And I think Roman Godoy got away with one there. Hung that a little bit. Ratliff, a real strong rip at it. So we'll reset here. 0-2 still on Matt Ratliff. And this one is fouled out of play as well. Ratliff. Reaching out, fouling off, pitch after pitch after pitch. And that breeze that was around has just picked back up again. That'll blow out to left field just a little bit for the batters. That pitch down. Did he go after it? Put the bat out there anyway. He must have fouled that one off. Looked like he put the bat out at it. So you see Brett Reinhardt there at second. Godoy. Ratliff waggles that bat. Setup is outside, and that's the sixth pitch of the at bat and the first ball. And ball two, I guess. Sorry. So a meeting on the mound here. There's a lot of wagging and stuff. Everybody's going to go back to their spot. Not quite sure what all that was about, all that meeting at the mound, but catcher Juan Cruz Zera was out, came back to the mound again, and now he's made his way back to home plate. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll try this one all over again. Ratliff waggles the bat. And a chopper past Federico Eder. And here's a strong throw to the plate, but they are not going to get him at the plate. And we got ourselves a tie ball game as Brett Reinhardt scores an unearned run and give that RBI to Matt Ratliff. A real good at bat there by Matt Ratliff. Fouled off a bunch of pitches, got the count up to 2-2, something he can handle. Drove it up the middle, and a strong throw in by the center fielder, Piquer, but no opportunity to get the speedy Brett Reinhardt. So a good ball game here, 2-2, covering the odds, you could say, are the Circle Top Dukes right now. So thanks to our game controllers who got us the upcoming game, New York Gremlins and Oma Tigre. Looks like it's going to be Andrew Kirkpatrick and Javi Oleyes. So Godoy misses upstairs now to Manuel Godoy. And now you're into the meat of the Duke's order here. And you can't afford to make a mistake to Manuel Godoy or to Blair Ezekiel, who's on deck. Godoy kicks, deals. Ratliff on the move. This one is yanked foul out of play down the right side. So both teams not afraid to put some runners in motion here. Swing and a miss. Down goes Manuel Godoy. But Circle Top tied the game on an RBI single on an outstanding at bat by Matt Ratliff. We're knotted at 2 going into the home half of the 4th. Stay with us. Back on the ISC network, Blair Sedford, my broadcast partner, Luciano Ligo, softball premier. Jorge Segura out on the board still for Circle Top Dukes. We're back to even, 2-2, and a real good ball game here between the Dukes of Circle Top, Denmark, Wisconsin, and the Kegel Black Knights of Fargo, North Dakota. And in with a strike. Mike Lewis back to the plate. He was the batter when Juan Cruz Zara was caught stealing to end the third. Lewis has the 2 RBIs for the Kegel Black Knights. And looks at a low pitch, and Manuel Godoy just out of the frame there. Threw the arms up in the air, wanted to know where that pitch was. I'll give Blair Ezekiel some credit. He's kept his temper under control. It's tough when you're behind the plate and you're not getting the calls you want. This one is roped. That's one hop off the outfielder for Circle Top. Ratliff picks it up and gets it back in. That handcuffed the left fielder, Tyler Johnson. It short hopped him, and then he couldn't find it on the hop. And in with a double, a hard hit double, Mike Lewis. He's 2 for 2 today. So that brings up Shea Bryant. Went after the first pitch his last at bat, popped it up to Manuel Godoy. Look for Shea to be a little bit more patient this at bat. Well, this has been the thing with this Fargo team all year long. They've been resilient. Was talking with a couple of the Hallman Twins guys on Saturday evening, the first day of the World Tournament, and we talked about them playing Fargo a number of times this year, and the Twins had beaten the Knights most often in the round robin, but Fargo had come back and beaten the Twins in the losers bracket final or in the semifinals more than once on occasion this year. So what's important is the wins and when you get them. This one's popped up on the infield, going way back to make the catch is the second baseman, Tanner Momentum. Good play in behind the bag. Went a long way to go get that. So Bryant pops up to second base, and that'll bring up B.J. Gullick. Gullick, the DP for the Knights, and hit a hard ball right at Tanner Momentum in his last trip. That was a ball missed somewhere. And Gullick swings and misses over the top of that good drop from Jorge Segura. That pitch misses down, so 2-1 on Gullick. Blair Ezekiel out to have a word with his pitcher. So swinging a foul back there by B.J. Gullick. And that one misses down. And just from the leap off the board, you can see that Segura was really trying to hump that one up, but he ended up throwing about a 41-footer to Blair Ezekiel on that pitch. So Segura looks in, gets a sign from Ezekiel. Gullick. Swing and a miss over the top of that drop. That's a great pitch again from Segura when he gets the batters to swing after that drop ball. That'll bring up Zach Shaw. Zach was down on strikes in his first trip. A couple other games going on around us. Rio Grande Senators up 7-2 on the AHI Reapers right now. Earlier, Bear Bottom Lodge went down 6-4 to RM Kurtz, so that's an upset. And I think that might knock Bear Bottom Lodge down into ISC 2. Dolan and Murphy, 8-6 losers to Marchio Sausage. So Dolan and Murphy will go down to ISC 2. Ground ball out to Momentum. He'll throw on to first and get the Dukes out of the inning. We're going to go to the top of the fifth. Tie ball game. Dukes, Knights. It's a good one. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. And indeed, the best in the world, ISC World Tournament. Back here on the ISC Network, Blair Setford, Luciano, my partner. Roman Godoy back out here for the fifth for the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Working to Blair Ezekiel. Blair 1 for 1 with a walk so far today. Had that intentional walk in the rally for the Dukes where they got their first run. That pitch misses outside. Cruz Zera is beside himself that he can't get a called strike right now. You don't need to see that. You don't need to be 4 feet away. You can see that from 254 feet away. Cruzera let the glove drop, the head drop. I don't know where that pitch missed, but Blair Ezekiel down to first. Roman Godoy is beside himself with the strike zone. Cruzera just now getting up out of the crouch. He's going to snap the glove down. Kevin Wallace is going to come down and try to cool things down with the Fargo Black Knights players, but he's got some explaining to do as to where his partner's strike zone is. Must have forgot it at the hotel. See Federico Eder face-to-face here with Kevin Wallace all the way across the infield. And he is hot, looking for some help here for his pitcher. Just a couple other results for you earlier today. Ashland A's 3-0 winners over Nate's Auto Fisher. That'll put Nate's down to ISC 2. Pueblo Bandits 5-4 over the Walcott squad, the Walcott Merchants. And Ostrander, 8-0 winners over the Walcott Lamplighter squad. So both the Lamplighter teams will be into ISC 2 as we get a base hit from Peyton Hall. And a couple of runners aboard now for Circle Tap. And we did get a runner there for Blair Ezekiel as well, as number 73, Derek Umentum, is in to run for Blair Ezekiel. So 2 runners aboard for Circle Tap, and they are looking to make something happen here in the top of the 5th inning. They rallied to tie it in the 4th, and Roman Godoy is struggling with the strike zone here, and he's letting that emotion spill over into his pitching. Bunt attempt and foul and up and out of play. Gentry Mitchell is the batter for Circle Tap at the plate. Mitchell struck out and then had an RBI single. And still not a strike. It's consistent. It's been consistent the whole game. You got to give him credit. It has been absolutely consistent. Bunt attempt again, lets it go by, and a called strike. Chopper on the infield, and that was just one foul down the left side. Coming up on the ISC Network, we mentioned the New York Gremlins, the Oma Tigre, at 6 o'clock. It will be the J&B squad from Agoura Hills, California. Late arrivals last night, 4-1 winners over the Rio Grande Senators. They will take on the Kitchener-Hallman Twins as this pitch misses inside. And then at 8 o'clock, Hill United Chiefs will play the AWP Lumberjacks. Stay tuned for all of those. Big day here today on the ISC Network. Right now, circle tap, Fargo. Kegel Black Knights in a good one. This one is lifted up on the infield. Infield fly rule in effect. Eater trips over the bag, but still makes the catch. Momentum maybe got in the way a little bit. He's looking now for an obstruction call, but they're laughing about it, but that could have been pretty serious because he made a basket catch right in front of the bag. Oh, boy. We've seen just about everything here in this one. So Brogan Potter is the batter. Potter laced one off the base of the left field fence. That was back in the second. And a good healthy cut there. Godoy's pitches have still got the pace, but they're not breaking as much at the plate as they were a little bit earlier in the game. Again, a long look in by Godoy. And here's a chopper on the infield. Eater flipped to second for one, back to first, safe. Potter beats out the attempted double play, so they do get Peyton Hall erased at second. And up to third on that play is Derek Umentum. So runners on the corners, 2 out, and that does bring up Tanner Umentum. And that pitch down in the zone for ball 1. Tanner's got a strikeout and a flyout here today. And that pitch misses upstairs. 2-0. Good hitters count here for Tanner Umentum. Opportunity to put the Circle Tap Dukes out in front for the first time today. Swing and a miss. Just reared back, blew that one right past Tanner Umentum. Haven't seen the changeup in about 3 innings from Roman Godoy. That's always been a good pitch for him. Ground ball, that gets through. Circle Tap takes the lead. Federico Eaters had a lot of balls hit his way, but another diving attempt, but he just can't get over there. And that one through the 5.5 hole, and an RBI single for Tanner Umentum. And momentum is certainly on the side of the Dukes. 3 unanswered runs for Circle Tap over the last couple of innings, as the Knights haven't been able to take advantage of their chances. And Circle Tap has been the ones to come through in the clutch here. There's a chopper down to first base and a bit of a hard tag there by Lewis, as Brett Reinhardt is kind of sent spinning. Nonetheless, Circle Tap Dukes do. And Roman Godoy is in to have a bit of a conversation with the home plate umpire about where the strike zone is and why he can't buy a strike here today. But Circle Tap with a 3-2 lead. We'll go to the home half of the 5th. Lots of action happening in this one. Low scoring, tight one, but entertaining nonetheless. Bottom of 5 for Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Early is getting late for the Knights as they have seen a 2-0 lead evaporate, and it's now a 3-2 deficit as the Circle tap Dukes. 3 unanswered runs over the last couple of innings, and that is the difference right now. The Dukes taking advantage of the opportunities as they arise, and the Knights have stranded a couple of runners. So Jeff Lewis, that hard tag to end the top of the 5th, knocked down a bit of an unsuspecting Brett Reinhardt and called strike. Neither Segura nor Godoy really have figured out the strike zone here today. It's been tight. It's been tight right from the first pitch. And there's ball 4. Down to first goes Jeff Lewis. So walking the 9 batter is Jorge Segura. Back to the top of the shop for Alain Pequer, the very dangerous Alain Pequer. Wheels on the bases, wheels at the plate for the Knights. A good combination. Pequer squares like he's going to bunt and called strike on the outside corner. I don't know that I'd be taking the bat out of the hands of Alain Pequer at this point, but you're down 1. You need to get something to advance the runners and take advantage of the situation. Pequer is going to step out, and Segura will wait for Coach Scott Standifer to come out. They're going to have a little conference. We mentioned earlier Scott Standifer off to the ISC Hall of Fame, inducted in the manager category a little bit earlier this week, Sunday morning, to be precise, and certainly one of the nicest guys in the game. And if you have viewed our electronic guide on the ISC website, that's Scott Standifer and his company that look after that electronic version of the ISC guide. So Scott will turn and have one last word of advice for Jorge Segura. He'll make his way back to the first base dugout. So we'll see what Pequer has been asked to do. Bat held high, waggles. Swinging away, but looks at this one, ball all the way from Segura. Pequer drills this one, but just foul down the right side. Got absolutely all of that, but it was foul right off the bat, all the way down to the corner. Andrew Kirkpatrick getting the ball for the Gremlins coming up on our next broadcast as he makes his way down the line for warm-ups. Just missing outside. Pequer again with that bat up over the head. Time at the plate. Pequer asked for time. Pequer swing, miss. Looked like he really got fooled on that pitch. Piquet was out on the front foot and reaching for it. And a good sequence there by Jorge Segura to get Alan Piquet. That's a big, big out for the big right-hander from Guatemala. Blaine Milheim will step in. And this one is drilled right at, it dropped by the left fielder. Tyler Johnson down on his knees, had that in the glove, but it popped out. And Milheim hit that ball so hard, I think Johnson was astounded at how fast it was on him. But an E7. And runners now at first and second for Federico Eder. And for all the action that Federico Eder has had today, an opportunity to help atone for that one unearned run. But he's had a couple of strikeouts. He's had a rough afternoon at the plate. We'll see if he can make something happen now. And that pitch misses upstairs. One down here, Piquet, the strikeout. Runners at first and second. Lewis and Milheim both have wheels, and this pitch misses downstairs. So 2-0 now on Federico Eder. Good hitters count, and Federico Eder is a good hitter. Segura just drying the hands off on the pants. Got some cloud cover today, which has helped protect players, the computer equipment. And this one fouled off down the left side, and I think that's a pitch that Federico Eder wants back. The last couple of years, he's just taken that pitch and driven it the opposite way. This year, he's fouled it off. So Lewis at second base on the walk. Milheim aboard on the error. And a chopper in the infield. It stays down. They go to second. They get one. Coming home for a tie. And they're calling obstruction at second. As a hard slide at second base by Milheim. And they're going to call obstruction on that play. And I'll be surprised if they're going to let Jeff Lewis score on that play. Eder made his way up to, interference rather, not obstruction. Eder made his way up to second base. So is it interference? Is that what they're calling? Because it's Scott Stanifer who is out here having the discussion with Kevin Wallace. I saw the right arm go out. There was a hard slide into second base by Milheim. He seemed to catch the foot of the shortstop, Brett Reinhardt, trying to come across. The Dukes are still having a conversation, even though Stanifer has made his way back close to the dugout. Wallace has said, let's play ball. So we got ourselves a tie ball game and a runner on second base. Two down. And it's Juan Cruz Zera at the plate. So out of all of that, Circle Tap does score. They put the run up on the scoreboard at least, but we're not showing it yet on Game Changer. But it is up on the scoreboard. And that gets away from Blair Ezekiel, and up 60 feet goes Manuel Godoy, or Federico Eder, rather. So a little bit of reverse pressure now as the Knights put some pressure on the Dukes. And we'll see how they can respond defensively. And they're going to put Cruz Zera on board again deliberately. This move has not worked because Mike Lewis, 2 for 2, 2 RBIs. He's hit the ball hard twice, too. So we'll take a look and we'll see what will become of this call. So Zera at first, Eder over at third. I would expect Zera to be in motion on the first or second pitch. Misses upstairs. Zera bluffed, looked like he was going. Ezekiel will want to give himself something he can handle and throw if he's going to. And there's a called strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mike Lewis. 2 RBI single back in the first, and then a double. And swing and a miss there. Took something off that, and haven't seen the off speed too much from Segura. Zera casually trotted up to second, and I don't think anybody noticed. So 2 runners in scoring position again for Mike Lewis, an opportunity to give his team the lead, to retake the lead. Well, the outfielders from Circle Tap certainly thought that was a strike. All 3 of them were on their way to the dugout. The wrap, the lean, and a chopper on the infield. And Momentum sticks with it. It came up and hit him in the chest, but he stuck with it and throws out Mike Lewis. They strand 2, but they score 1, and we got ourselves a tie ball game again, headed into the top of the 6th. It's a good one. Good old-fashioned fastball. Stay with us on the ISC Network. Back here in the ISC network for the top of the 6th inning, and I just went and asked Shea Bryant what was the call, whether it was obstruction interference on that play at second with the slide by Eder, and he said no, ultimately it was just play on. There was no call on either side of that, obstruction or interference. So we got ourselves a tie ball game with no controversy. And a good one. The Dukes and the Knights, as you would expect when these two Midwestern teams hook up. Tyler Johnson, first pitch swinging, and he gets a single out to left. So he's aboard for the first time today. His 4th at bat here this afternoon. And Robbie Schweier is into pitch. Just pitching change for Fargo as Rob Schweier, the right-hander, is in. And a drop bunt here, and that is just foul by Matt Ratliff. Schweier, the veteran from Simcoe, Ontario, made his first ISC appearance way back as a teenager in the late 90s. Had a great podcast appearance on Outside the Chute with Randy Frame and Chris Hopewell, our good friends down in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Ratliff, swing and a miss up the middle, or swing up the middle rather, and that swing is as good as a bunt as he advances the runner. So that brings up Manuel Godoy. Robbie Schweier has 29 ISC World Tournament wins. Picked up a win last year. It was his first in about 5 years, and was very excited to pick up that win. He could be in line for another one here if the Fargo Kegel Black Knights can rally. And this one pulled foul. So Godoy works 5 innings, gives up the 3 runs, and turns it over to Schweier. Ground ball out to second base. Zach Shaw has made both the outs this inning. But Johnson up to third on the play, and that will bring up Blair Ezekiel. I would not be surprised to see Blair get 4 free ones here. Seen this move already once where they walked Blair earlier in the game to go after Peyton Hall. So Landerman will go back to the dugout. Zara will get down on the crouch. So with 2 out, looks like they're going to go after Ezekiel. And that pitches, misses off the outside. And could it be the intentional walk? This one is lifted sky high, and it's going to be the Zach Shaw inning as he settles under it. Ezekiel hit the bottom of it, and they work out of that leadoff single. And Schweier comes in, sits down, circle tap. We'll go to the home half. Stay with us on the ISC Network. high above Diamond 2 here in Eldridge in Iowa. How's that for a scene set shot? Circle Top Dukes, Fargo, Kegel Black Knights tied at 3. Hasn't been the best fielded game, as you can see there, but it's certainly been exciting. So Shea Bryant, BJ Gulick, and Zach Shaw will be the batters for Kegel. Bryant, hard one hopper, picked up rather nicely by the shortstop, Brett Reinhardt. So bring up Zach Shaw. Shaw got all 3 outs in the top. Let's see if he can make something happen here in the bottom. We're over 2 hours into this one. This one is going to put us behind schedule. And to his counterpart, Tanner Umentum gathers up that one from the bat of... Sorry, that was B.J. Gulick. And Shaw up now. So Gulick 4-3 in your scorecard. Shaw now at the plate. In for a called strike. Segura's a workhorse. He's done a lot of work for Circle Tap this year. And a chopper in front. He'll go get that one himself. Sling it sidearm and out at first base is the call by Kevin Wallace. And again, we've got the manager out to have some comments before the end of the inning, but nonetheless, through 6 complete, tied at 3. We'll head to the 7th. Stay with us on the ISC Network. If you click on any of the game boxes, should take you to the Game Changer link for that particular game. Peyton Hall leading things off for Circle Top. He'll be followed by Gentry Mitchell and then Brogan Potter. Peyton Hall. Yes, Peyton Hall. Hall hit into a fielder's choice, was hit by a pitch, and then singled in his 3 plate appearances so far. A different look with Robbie Schweier than Ramon Godoy. You get a steady diet of the hard stuff from Godoy. Robbie Schweier, as he talked about on that podcast, changes speeds much more now. There's a drop from Schweier, makes it about 45.5 feet. And there's a change, and that one pulled foul by Peyton Hall. It's funny, you listen to these podcasts with some of the veteran pitchers, and they all talk about how they wish they had done more pitching and less throwing when they were younger. And pitching, of course, changing speeds, hitting spots, and not just throwing the ball through a brick wall. Downstairs from Schweier. Robbie and Gerald Muslar were two of the most effective pitchers in the 2000s decade. The combo of the two of them with Broken Bow took those various Bow Travelers teams to about 4 or 5 straight championship game appearances. Hall fouls this one off. Muslar received a lot of the recognition over the years, but he wouldn't have been what he was without the contribution by Robbie Schweier, who threw a lot of innings and started a lot of semifinal games and championship games for Bow Travelers over the years. A real good, strong career. Upstairs, did he go around in that? He had a notion to, but I don't think they're going to check. Foul? Was that a foul? 3-2 count on the leadoff batter here, Peyton Hall. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. That's a veteran pitch right there as Robbie Schweier nibbles away at the strike zone and gets a called strike 3. Gentry Mitchell, 1 for 3 at the plate, an RBI single earlier. Schweier pours in a strike to Gentry Mitchell. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 down here, top of the 7th inning. All eyes on this game right now as the one behind us just getting underway. Swing and a miss. Down goes Gentry Mitchell. And that'll bring up Brogan Potter. Ashland A's and Pueblo Bandits underway behind us. That's loser bracket action. Pueblo already a winner here, as was Ashland this afternoon. So the winner of that game will stay in the World Tournament. The loser will go down to ISC 2. Brogan Potter, the batter. And Schweier starts him in with a changeup and floats that in for a strike. That was not what Brogan Potter was looking for. Didn't quite buckle the knees, but certainly wobbled them a little bit. Wasn't expecting that pitch. And again, took something off. Potter watches it go by, but gets a ball for this one. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brogan Potter. Double strikeout and a fielder's choice for the big right fielder. And this one is lifted up. Short left. Lewis will haul that in. And Robbie Schweier has a clean inning in the 7th. Opportunity for Fargo to win the game coming up. Bottom of the 7th. Stay with us. Nail biter time. Our own Field of Dreams here in Eldridge, Iowa. Diamond number 2. It's the middle one. We're calling it D1 here for the week, but it's the middle one. And it could be a Field of Dreams opportunity for Fargo Kegel Black Knights. Opportunity to win in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 7th. We are tied 3-3 with the Circle Top Dukes. Jeff Lewis a single and a walk today. And that one fouled off his foot at the plate. Dead ball. Coming up after this one, it's the New York Gremlins and the Oma Tigre. But right now, all eyes on Circle Top and the Kegel Black Knights. Misses outside. Segura takes his time getting back on the board, rub up the ball a little bit. And Lewis puts down a real good bunt. They're not going to get him. Manuel Godoy wisely picks up that ball, puts it in his pocket. You've seen many of those over the years thrown down the line needlessly. And a heads-up play there by the veteran, not making an errant throw and compounding something. So, Lewis does his job getting aboard, and they're back to the top of the shop. Alan Piquet, we've been talking all week about this guy and how good he is. And an opportunity here for Piquet to be a hero. Slaps and fouls this one back to the screen. Jim Landerman is an old school manager. Don't be surprised if he's got Piquet fully bunting to move Jeff Lewis along. Lewis runs very well, and Ezekiel, I think, 1 for 3 on throwing out runners. Piquet squares again and again, chops at it and fouls it back over the screen. So with 2 strikes, he'll be up there swinging, one would suspect. Sun peeks out from behind some clouds and just sharpens everything up here on the main diamond at the Sheridan Meadows complex. Piquet swings over the top, and not a good at bat from Alan Piquet at all. Fouls a couple over the screen and then swings at one in the dirt. So Blaine Milheim been all over the scoreboard all day. that hard hit ball that was dropped by the left fielder Tyler Johnson. And looks at one down and away from Segura. Milheim, who's played some college baseball and then played fast pitch in the summers. On the move is Johnson. The throw's high, and underneath the slide is Lewis. So they move him up 60 feet and now into scoring position. Matt Ratliff reminding his fellow outfielders, got to get him on the ground. If the ball comes to you on the ground, you got to be coming up hard and going to the plate. Probably need to be in a couple steps. If it's over your head, probably not going to get it. So Milheim, an opportunity to be an early hero in the World Tournament for Kegel Black Knights. Down low, called the ball, and Segura with a long look in and wonders where that pitch misses. Outfield regulation depth, infield, got to knock it down. And misses up and away. And you're wondering if they're maybe pitching around Blake Milheim just a little bit. Federico Eder, and then Juan Cruz Zera, if it were to get that far. And now Segura is going to back off. Ezekiel flashing a number of signs. Segura finds one he likes. And Milheim was on his way to first, but that's a called strike. And we'll see how the umpire reacts to that. Umpires don't like to be shown up like that. So Segura with the wrap, the wind. On the ground to Momentum at second. Turns, flips to first for the second out, but up to third goes Lewis. So they're 2/3 of the way out of this, but they've still got to deal now with Federico Eder. Eder had a tough day at the plate, hasn't been able to get a ball out of the infield. And another strategy session here with the Dukes. We'll get everybody together on the same page. Boy, Scott Staniford's had a lot of screen time today. You'd think he just went into the Hall of Fame or something. Eder just needs to get the ball through the infield. Some pressure here on Blair Ezekiel with a drop ball pitcher like Jorge Segura. He's got to keep the ball in front of him because Lewis can score from third easily. And swing and single pitch, one hopper right into the glove of Manuel Godoy. Eder's going to plead it was off his foot, but that appeal is going nowhere. Eder's staying right at the plate. That one looked like it came right off the plate and right into the glove of Manuel Godoy at first. We're going to extras. Tied 3-3. So off to extras we go for Circle Top. Schweier back out on the hill for Fargo. The figurative hill, for those who like to draw the distinction between a pitcher's mound and a pitcher's circle. Tanner Umentum at the plate, and swing and a miss there. Chase that one up and out of the zone. And this one just misses downstairs. Robbie Schweier won the 50-50 draw at the ISC Hall of Fame breakfast and induction ceremony on Sunday morning. I think his share was well over $300. This just misses outside. In fact, it was probably closer to $400 because I think it was almost $800 total in the 50-50 kitty. So Robbie, with or without the 50-50 draw, a popular guy at the beer garden last night. Swing and a miss. Down goes Tanner Umentum. Schweier has done a real good job of quelling any momentum that Circle Tap might have had in the batter's boxes. Changing speeds, hitting his spots. It's Brett Reinhardt, the 9 batter. And then Tyler Johnson back at the top of the shop. Downstairs from Schweier. Reinhardt reached on an error and grounded out to Lewis. Just a hint of a breeze right now on the diamond, kind of left to right from first to third. Not much moving in the trees that are around the perimeter of the diamond here. Change up, swing, and a miss. It's a beauty as Reinhardt way out in front of that pitch. So 2 down and back to the top of the shop, Tyler Johnson. Johnson singled his last trip. Got around as far as third, but that was it. Couldn't make the final 60 feet. And foul that one off at the plate. Schweier, the big lean back, and comes in with a hard drop ball and gets a called strike. Called strike 3, Schweier. Sets down the side, picks up a couple of strikeouts along the way, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Another opportunity for Fargo Kegel Black Knights to try and walk this one off. We'll see if Jorge Segura can keep the door shut. Stay with us here on the ISC Network. Welcome back to the Iowa Field of Dreams, the softball Field of Dreams. Fargo, Denmark, Circle Tap, and Kegel Black Knights. Still tied at 3, bottom of the 8th inning. And Segura pours in a strike to Juan Cruz Zera. Zera's been walked twice intentionally and called strike on the inside corner. Swing and a miss over the top, but it gets through Blair Ezekiel, and aboard is Juan Cruz Zera. So a fatigue error there. 2 hours, 33 minutes in the hot sun behind the plate. And we talked about that earlier. Segura with the hard drop, and Blair Ezekiel, not normally a catcher. That's a tough play to handle. So Zera aboard on the error. Mike Lewis, 2 for 3 with a couple RBIs. And is that the mistake that Fargo might be able to capitalize on? Both of these teams have had their chances on multiple times, multiple opportunities, and haven't been able to take advantage all the time. That looked like it hit the bat twice in the box, and it did. Kevin Wallace picked up on that one right away and dead balled it, but he was still in the box. But it definitely hit the bat twice. You can see that one all the way out here in right field. So skipper Jim Landerman trying to play some small ball and advance the runner over. Lewis again, this one gets through the wickets on Ezekiel. That one I would give a wild pitch as opposed to a pass ball on that one. That was about a 45.5 footer from Jorge Segura. So Zera now in scoring position. And it's the little things that can make a difference. Segura. Chopper on the infield, over to third, sidearm to first, and Zera. No opportunity to advance there. Good play by Gentry Mitchell. Good, hard, strong throw to first base, and Zera, the ball in front of him, had to retreat. The key out there for the Circle Top Dukes. Shea Bryant. They're going to give the free pass to Shea Bryant, and they'll go after B.J. Gullick. This sets up the force on the infield. And the winning run is the one at second. Anything after that would only count on a walk-off home run, so it really doesn't matter. So Bryant will make his way down to first, and we'll have opportunity here for B.J. Gullick. Couple of ground ball outs and a strikeout, but a big opportunity here for So 0-1 on DJ Gullick. And that one is down low. Good job there to smother that pitch by Blair Ezekiel. You know, Ezekiel will come out to have a conversation with Segura. You don't want to get crossed up at this point. Blair Ezekiel from Newfoundland and Jorge Segura from Guatemala. They may be ordering Chinese for dinner. So Segura back to it. And it's a hard shot. Oh, great play by Momentum. turns and gets the out at first. That is a game-saving play there by Tanner Momentum. A step and a half to his left as that ball was smashed. And a great play there by the second baseman for the Dukes. A game-saver of a play to keep Circle Tap alive. So runners advanced on the play up to second and third, and that does put Juan Cruz Zera, the winning run, 60 feet away. Zach Shaw, the 8 batter, will step in. Couple of ground ball outs to Tanner Momentum on his card here this afternoon, and I think you want to go after Zach Shaw. Jeff Lewis is 2 for 3 in the 9 spot. And this one's fouled out of play. Crowd still buzzing here about that great play by Tanner Momentum. I thought that ball was going to make its way out here to right field, but picked off and cleanly got the out over at first base. On 1 on Zach Shaw. Oh, that one gets away from Ezekiel. Here comes Zera. He's going to score as that pitch short-hopped Blair Ezekiel. All he could do was try to block it, and it skipped off of him. Zera scores easily, and Fargo Kegel Black Knights, your 4-3 winners on a wild pitch to end the game. A bit of a heartbreaker, to say the least, for the Circle Tap Dukes. They battled back, but in the end, it's the Fargo Kegel Black Knights who will advance in the winners bracket, and they'll play the winner of Kitchener-Hallman Twins and J&B later in the week. The Dukes down into the losers bracket. Stay with us. In about 15 minutes time on the ISC network, we'll bring you the New York Gremlins and the Oma Tigre. For Luciano, I'm Blair Setford. We'll see you on the flip side.